Let's talk about content creation and being burnt out. Let's be real, content creation can be very exhausting when you're trying to keep up with everything and everybody and also building a business. Listen, one of the things I have learned about content creation is that if you don't have a system, you are literally hurting yourself. You're doing yourself a disservice. With anything at all, like once we have a system, once we have a routine, once we have a strategy, it makes life so much easier for you. So even with showing up online, creating content, there's no difference. You literally need to be showing up with a strategy and with a system in place that can help you to be consistent. Now, you probably hear so many people talking about consistency. You need to be consistent. You need to show up online. You need to be doing it. You need to be doing that. And trust me, if you don't have your head on your body, you'll be running around like a headless chicken and following everything that everybody is saying, right? And one of the things I had to learn was, what do I want content creation to look like and feel like for me? Right? Not anyone else, not what people are saying. What do I want it to look like and feel like for me? So if for you, you already have a system in place, but you feel like you could do some tweaking just to, maximize your productivity or eliminate some things or improve some things, then of course, I have an approach or system that I have created that has helped me personally, that makes content creation more enjoyable for me these days, that doesn't leave me feel overwhelmed or burnt out. And if you're burnt out, it's not because you're lazy. It is not because you don't know what you're doing. It's simply because you have bought into this idea that you need to show up a particular way, which is probably every day or in a way that doesn't align with your energy levels, your schedule, your lifestyle, that makes you feel really burnt out. So without a strategy that fits your life, you're not going to be consistent and you're going to possibly be burned out. And it can be one out of two things. You're either going to be burnt out or you're not going to be doing anything. And both of them really just don't work. So you want to find like a middle ground with your content creation system. So if this sounds familiar, like they're saying, you need to be posting and you're posting, but you're not landing. You're not connecting with the right people. You're not speaking to the people who want to hear from you. You're just probably talking to your friends, right? Because a lot of us, we have our friends who follow us on social media, and some of them are not our clients. So if you're creating content thinking about them, then that's a big no, and that's something you want to work on. And if another thing is you're spending so much energy trying to be consistent, but it is draining, that's another thing that you will have to fix that. And then if you are tired of the pressure of being online 24/7, listen, I don't like to be glued to my screen 24/7. I don't want to always be online thinking about work all the time, So if that feels like, or it sounds like you, the real issue is that you're trying to build and show up in a way without clarity and without strategy. And you don't have a system in place that is rooted in you, your voice, your lifestyle, or even your audience. But the truth is, you have time to fix it. You have time to fix this constant being burnt out. I've been there to the point where I've showed up burnt out. And trust me, all it did was a disservice for me. It didn't do anything good for me. And I'm going to tell you, those content that I created when I was burnt out are some of the lowest performing content, to be honest. So, you can fix it by first having a system in place. And I'm going to share with you the Create framework that I personally created to help me. I'm not saying, boy, take everything that I say and throw it into your life. But what I'm sharing with you is an approach. If you have ever struggled with what to post, or your content feel like it is all over the place, you lack clarity, you lack direction, you're inconsistent, then this framework is for you. It's the Create framework. This is the exact framework that I have used to create content for myself to be on brand, but I've also utilized this same framework to help clients to show up more consistently and on brand. One of the things as an entrepreneur is that you're thinking about building a business. You're actually building a business, but you're also building a brand. And on top of that, they're telling you that you need to be creating content. Listen, that's a lot for any entrepreneur, especially if you're in that phase of growing and pivoting. And so one of the things you want to do is to have the clarity, have the strategy, and a system for consistency. That is what the Create framework does for you. It helps you with all the things to get clearer, to have strategy, and to be more consistent. So this framework is very structured, but it also has some actionable steps that you can take. So when you're creating content, you don't feel overwhelmed, you don't feel stressed out, and it makes your life easier. If you want to access this framework, click the link below. And a new way of thinking of how you can approach content, and you can test it out for yourself, see if it works, and if it works for you, then great. If it doesn't work for you, what you can do is to take bits. I wouldn't say if it doesn't work for you, what you can also do is take bits and pieces from this approach that I have, this system that I've created, and implement it in your own system, right? Because sometimes one of the things I have found, I have followed other content creators who say, yo, this work, this is great, this is amazing, and sometimes it ends up being so technical, it doesn't feel naturally like me. And then there are other times when I have taken parts of their system and it works for me. Like one of the systems I buy into and I believe in, as they would say, the propaganda I'm falling for is batch creating content. Batch creating content saves me so much time. When I had a 9 to 5, it was a thing that I was doing that helped me to have a routine, have a system that helped me to show up consistently. Now, mind you, there were times when I was batch creating and boy, I was just so drained, right? Because I didn't know my energy levels. So I was trying to create too much content in one sitting until I started learning, like, no, instead of trying to create 4 20-minute videos, how about creating 2 15-minute videos? How about creating 3 10-minute videos, right? Those are the things that happen when you start doing the things, trying out different systems, or even just flipping a system into your own, right? So those are some things. So you want to show up online, but every time you're trying to post or you're going to post, you start overthinking, or it just feels like a chore, you don't want to do it, which ends up leaving you not posting anything, or you post some random thing just to say you are visible. Listen, here's what nobody is telling you. One, posting all the time won't fix some of the biggest mistakes you're making with your brand, like not having a clear brand message. And not having a clear brand message, no matter how pretty your graphics are, if you don't have a clear brand message, if you don't have clarity around what you're doing, why you're doing it, who you're talking to, the value you're providing, the offer you're providing, it means nothing. Literally, it means nothing if you are showing up all the time, trying to be consistent, but your brand messaging isn't clear. So that's one. Two, no one is telling you that if you're posting all the time and your message isn't clear, is that you won't get clients. So the more content you create does not equal to more clients. I've had to learn that the more content you create does not equal more clients, and clarity is the one thing that brings you confidence, right? So you want to be able to be very clear about your brand message. So let's talk about the superficial narrative, and let's talk about the smart approach. So the superficial narrative is that post consistently, show up every day, batch create your content on Sundays. If you're not being seen, then of course you're not being consistent. I don't buy into that, and I would not tell you to buy into that either, right? So here's a smart approach. Consistency is a byproduct of clarity and systems, and the Create framework is simply that. Two, a strategic content helps you to have a longer shelf life. If you're in the space of building authority, then of course, what you want to do is be strategic with your content. Of course, have fun with your content, but be strategic about it in a way where you're building trust and building confidence, so your audience can trust you and spend with you, right? And then another thing is your approach to content should work for your schedule. Your approach to content should work for who? You. And then you want to build authority when your content reflects depth. So when you build authority, your content often reflects depth, and it is not just about volume. So it's not about just posting every day, because you can post every day and it's just some surface level thing. Personally, I don't like surface level content. Sure, we can do the fun trends, we can drop on a trend and have some fun, but if that's going to be your only thing, especially as a service-based provider, definitely no. So I want to talk to you about the CREATE framework. The CREATE framework is built for service-based women entrepreneurs like you. So it's not for influencers. So if you're an influencer, if you're a content machine, if you want to be a content machine, this is not for you. This framework is for women who are building something on purpose. So one, it helps you to clarify your message. Who are you talking to? What is the value you're providing? What is their pain point? Then you want to research, know your audience deeply, like know your audience, like how you know your best friend. You want to know your audience. So when you're creating the content, you're not just pulling things out of the air. You're not just jumping on trends, but you're creating something that really works for your audience. And then 3 is explore different content ideas. Be free to test and experiment with different things. Assemble is another step, which is just assemble all the strategic stuff. And then test what works. Testing is the order of the game. And then when you start doing all of these things, you start evaluating, you're looking at your data, then you know what actually connects and works for your audience. So those are some of the things that I'll be breaking down in my webinar on Saturday. So on Saturday, I'll be just talking about and walking you through, giving you guys an interactive. So I'm giving you an interactive guide that you can utilize for content creation. So like I said, this Saturday, May 31st, 10 a.m. Jamaica time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm walking you through the entire CREATE framework. And it's a free webinar, by the way. You don't have to pay anything. But all you have to do is just come, show up, ask questions, and I'll be just breaking down how you can be more visible without the burnout, without jumping on all these other trends that isn't working for you. And you will also be able to do an assessment. When you do this assessment, what it helps you with is to identify the gaps in your content creation system, as well as your content creation process and what you can do to improve it and how I can help you. So if this sounds like something you want, just comment below, send me a DM and say, hey, Carey, I'm interested in this webinar. I want to talk to you some more. I want to learn some more about this framework and how it can help me. So just to remind you, one, I'm going to be giving you an interactive guide. You get an assessment quiz, and I help you to figure out where you are now and what you can do to change things and make things differently.